Bad. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for Politically Incorrect Knitters. I think this is episode 136 or maybe 137. We're 2 days late because Anne was off having an adventure without us, and this is the first time I could pin her down. But I'm the Deplorable Knitter, and that is the fabulous and wonderful Anne Pinkova.
Hello.
And I think it's going to be Anne Pinkova's story time today. But before we do that, we're sponsored by Chicken Lady. Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. This is the Politically Incorrect Knitters colorway on her MCN base, and it is just so beautiful and smushy. And yes, enter to win. You've only got 2 more days to be eligible for that giveaway because it ends in the end of January. And if you can't wait, use the code SNOW PIK. SNOW 20 PIK to be to get 20% off of your order of Chicken Lady yarns.
Or if you're seeing us in February, the code does change.
Yes.
So, man, I just said it. Why didn't I write it down?
Hearts
20 PIK. Okay. We're still learning from last year on her orders for promo codes, so she switched it around.
Yes.
And I'm about to talk about it, but she did do a colorway for the Knitty McPurley Retreat, and it is beautiful. It is all sorts of blues, variegated. It is so lovely, and I think she has full skeins of it.
Yes.
Here, I never open these up, and I really should, because it is very pretty.
Right. No, it is gorgeous. And it always looks different when it's skeined and when it's open, and
I know, it's all along the foot. It's not going to look as pretty when I skein it up with my fingers, but oh well.
What? It's all right. So
it's beautiful. I love it.
And if you guys didn't know, Anne is in North Carolina.
Yes.
She is not home in South Dakota. She is playing hooky from life for a minute, and she's went on a party with her family and with all of these other knitters. And I gotta say, I wasn't jealous until pictures started coming up, and then I was like, I was jealous.
Well, okay. People have asked where you are because hey, it has been just such an excellent time. I am so at the Lake Junaluska Knitty McPurley Retreat. I'm in the hotel lobby still doing this, so it's pretty quiet on a Monday. It's not too much of a ruckus, but it is so beautiful. Like all of the lovely tufted chairs and spindly tables, and as she said in the advertisement, plenty of places to sit and knit. And it was so much fun. And a lot of people who are there have seen our show, or if they haven't seen our show, have at least heard of our show too. So it was so lovely to meet everybody. And I mean, it's sort of like, oh, I watch all the time. I'm like, oh, really?
That's awesome. I've not met anybody in real life who has watched our show, I don't think. So that's got to be fun.
It was, and everybody was so nice too.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
So before you get into all the stuff, because this episode is going to be Anne talking about what happened.
It is. Sorry, guys. I want to know, and it's one of the things too that should I video bits of this, or and I wasn't particularly good at taking pictures, even though I said I would. I lied, and I'm sorry. It's because I know that if I'm watching someone else's YouTube channel and they go to a big event or something and they're doing little videos about it, I'm watching it. I think it's great content. But it was I'm not so great at videos. So so that's just but also the I don't want to be the guy with the camera. But then at the same time, I know that on the other side of the camera, people want to see what's going on. So
right.
Sorry. I'll talk about it at length, but I'm sorry, guys.
I was talking to my mom. I was telling her about it, and I'm like, yeah, Anne told me that she would take pictures and stuff, and she didn't, and we're not surprised.
I took some selfies, but
Yeah, but it's funny. There is
the hashtag on Instagram, Knitty McPurley Retreat. Start going through and stocking everyone else's stuff.
I was watching. I was keeping an eye on that this weekend. But before Anne gets telling you all about the stuff, I am scanning up this really, really pretty yarn. It's from Little Fox hand-dyed yarn. No idea who they are, where they are. I got it at a yarn store. But this is organic merino and hemp. and it is just like super gorgeous. And it's really thin for me. It says it's sport weight, but I would say this is a solid fingering weight anyway. Maybe it's got a little bit more bounce to it than like a fingering weight would. But I'm scanning this up because all of a sudden I have an idea and I have to do it. So, that's how life is sometimes. And then if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen these, but I finished these this weekend. I've been sick. My kids were sick, but I was really sick. Like it's Man Voice Monday here, if you can't tell. um, but I did have enough energy to work on some class planning, and so I'm teaching advanced knitting. It starts in 2 weeks, and so we're going to learn cables as our first thing. And this mitt pattern is something I got free off of Ravelry like 100 years ago, but it's knit flat, and they're just simple cables. Forefront, it's easy peasy. But I figured it has enough repeats, and they're not trying to, use double points. They're not trying to do different things. They're just knitting flat, and every sixth row they cable. And so I was like, you know what? I feel like this is a good place to start. And so as you can see, I seamed up one. This is what they're going to look like. There's no thumb gusset, nothing. And I'm keeping the other one unseamed so that when I'm in class, I can show the kids how to do it. But yeah, so that I worked on that this weekend. That was a lot of fun when I was feeling well.
Well, yeah.
But I got a notification. Finally. Oh, cool. Jean is finally where I sent her yarn to a place she was going to be visiting, and apparently she didn't get there for a while, so she finally got it, and I'm so glad you like it. That's awesome. Pumpkins and Princesses says socks. I don't know why. Is it for my skinny yarn? That's not what it's going to be.
Oh, come on.
Finally made alive. Yeah, so that's all I've got. I'm in the throes of class planning and making sure my patterns, and I borrowed my mom because I like to use my nose to pine to skein up my yarn, but I have to get 12. The kids in my crochet class are each getting half a skein of 12 different colors. And I'm like, there's no way I'm doing this by hand. So I stole my mom's winder because I'm like, this is going to be painful if I have to do it by hand.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, so that's what I've got going on. And now, Anne, take it away.
Well, I don't know where to start. It's a lovely time. I'll start though because Devin gave us our little lovely grab bags. I'll start with that she made little logos with pearl stitches and the sun, yarn ball, and they're fantastic. Anyways, but yeah, gal does a good grab bag, gotta say. So, or however you say that, not grab bag.
Gift bag.
Yeah. But yes, so in that was the lovely Chicken Lady yarn, which is beautiful. But she also, Devin did a retreat exclusive color.
Oh.
Yeah. It's
lovely. Oh, somebody said swag bag. That's what they are.
Swag bag. There we go. I know there's a term for it.
Yep.
Yeah, and there was another skein of yarn in there, which is this one's like this lovely pinky brown color, which it's cashmere. It's beautiful. It's
is that Knitting McPurley too, or is that different?
No, it's Julie Aslan, maybe.
Okay.
Sure.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's cashmere, or at least art in cashmere, but it is fantastic. But also, like she did wool wash in here. She had her new Devin does seasonal scents that she'll only do one for each season, and she had her I don't know if it's her winter or her spring scent, and that is not in this bag anymore. I had to regather all of my stuff from the I had it busted out into all these different bags and doing everything. I'm like, no, wait, I need to put it back in the bag so I can show off the bag. What am I thinking? Yeah, and there were all sorts of discount codes for the people who are vending here, like Delightful Works, and there was one for 3 Jewels. I'm not sure they were here. Maybe they were, and I was misreading the labels. But little like stickers and let's see, what was this one? Oh, and then, okay, so this is someone I'd been admiring for a while. But Jenny Yoon, that she did leather design, so she gave us these little lovely leather sleeves and
Wow.
scissors. That I know,
I
and
gotta say, I'm jelly. I am jelly. Oh, and also, Jean, you asked about the hand warmer pattern name. I don't know. Um, it's on my. I'll put it on my Instagram post. I have no idea what it's called. I never know those answers. Sorry. I should be better. I know so many other designers and podcasters are like, oh, this is the so and so with the so and. I'm like, I don't know. I knit this thing, and here it is.
well, it was also okay. And being here is very funny because everyone's wearing hand knit sweater or a hand knit shawl every single day. I gotta say,
Yep.
I couldn't last that long. That I think I may have said something last time, but that of all the hand knit sweaters I have for myself, that it's really only the orange one with the dog on it or wolf on it, that I really like. Like I have other hand knit sweaters, but they're a little like the fit isn't quite right, and I'm not sure I really like the color and other. So
Yeah.
actually, so my parents were both here, and my mom was wearing sweaters that I had knit every day. But myself, I only had the one sweater, and then I had like my little Stardust shawl the one day, but that didn't last long. But yeah, I wasn't as bedecked as everyone else. It was funny though because I mean, just okay, the hand knit sweaters and the quality of the hand knit sweaters were incredible, and because everyone's here because of Devin, that her sweater patterns were just forefront and everything. But our audio seems to be making little weird noises. I don't know how to fix that. Sorry.
I think it's just the fact that you're in the lobby.
Probably.
Selfish Nerd says she's
Yes.
trying to figure out Three Jewels is Julie and Debbie, the sisters from Colorado, who did the Here's What's Happening segment for Devin's 100th episode. I don't know. I've not heard of them personally.
Yeah,
So,
they were there. They were a lot of fun, and they that there was a lot of people who were like, "Oh, you should do a podcast." I'm like, "Oh no, we don't want to do that, guys. You should do a podcast. You're hilarious." But yeah, so many nice people. But yeah, vendors. Um, there's one of them whose names I'm definitely forgetting, but we had Holly from Mystery Mouse Yarns, which I got yarn from her, and it's so beautiful. It's a
hold
soft.
it closer.
Sorry. There we go. That's a little better.
Yeah.
But it is called Everyone's Been on Murder, She Wrote. And Holly has a particular thing for Angela Lansbury because she loves Murder, She Wrote. And she loves Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. And so, yeah, this particular purple and gold, like she does a lot of that, but jokes on her, purple and gold's my favorite. So, anyways, it is just beautiful yarn. And I also got her pattern for her bookshelf wrap. I forget what it's called. That she also the advent calendar that she did this year was like a bookish themed advent calendar as well as Chicken Lays, but I think hers was Sherlock Holmes themed. So yeah, that
With
was
Angela Lansbury.
Zero Angela Lansbury in Sherlock Holmes. She does.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. Maybe there's an old Basil Rathbone with her, but I don't think so. But maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so that was all good. But yeah, and then it was, like I said, Susan from Delightful Works. She did some very pretty bags. And then Carissa from Sweet Mountain Crafts. She was here, and she also taught a class. She did like freeform weaving, that we got little metal hoops to do like little art yarn weaving and stuff. And she spun the art yarn for the class, which was really impressive. I did not bring that downstairs. So sorry about that, but I didn't finish also.
So, Renee said she's hoping Krista has those weaving kits for sale at her shop soon. I saw a lot of them. Somebody did a rainbow, like a freeform rainbow, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want one. Like,
yeah, they were very, very cool. And
yeah, that's cool.
And Cheryl from Wise Owl Knits, she just had her sweaters on a rack there, and she was selling patterns. But it was nice to like see her sweaters in person too.
Right.
yeah, so that was all very cool. And this is all wrapped around, but she did a brioche class. And yeah, so I did some brioche this weekend. It was very exciting.
Oh. Have you done brioche before?
I have not.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so actually sitting there and figuring out was awesome. But sorry, the yarn's all wrapped up in it. But I'm not sure about this one because I went to her pattern and I'm like, okay, I got a big head. I cast on the biggest size. I'm like, this may be too big.
Yeah, it looks pretty large.
Right. So it's like, okay, math, my nemesis again. But anyway.
I have a question.
Yes.
This has nothing to do with anything. Is Devin very tall?
She is.
Okay, because I saw the pictures of her and she was towering over everybody. I'm like, either they're exceptionally short or she is tall like my friend Dan.
No, she is very tall and very thin and very ladylike, and she, was dressing on point this whole time. Like, it was fabulous. She's hanging out in corduroy overalls with her,
I saw her in overalls and I'm like, I would look ridiculous in that, and she is adorable, and that's not fair.
That was one of the things too coming to this. I'm like, I don't know how to dress for this event. Like, oh no, Devin's really cute. I don't know how to.
You dress like you.
Yeah. Well, I
That's
did.
what you do.
But yeah. So yeah, Cheryl had a class. Again, Holly from Mystery Mouse knits. And she has a podcast too. But
Mystery Mouse?
Yes.
I've not heard of that one.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a relatively new shop. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I
Cool.
know that she's been podcasting for maybe longer than a year, or maybe not. I could totally be off, whatever. But yeah, really loved her colors. Just beautiful stuff. And she still had kits from her bookish wrap. I didn't get
Okay,
one.
so she's the Angela Lansbury lady.
Yes.
Okay. I missed that. Thank you.
Right. I mean, here, one second. I have, because I got her pattern and I shoved it in my notebook. Let me look quick to make sure I'm not giving any secrets. I don't think so. Here we go. But yeah, that's her bookish wrap. And I don't know if you can see.
Ew.
Yeah, but there's there is a sort of lace surround that garter stripes in the middle, and there's a lace edging on it, and it's all and she does little embroidery for the kind of book binding on the edges. I thought it was a really good pattern. But
any knitwear is appropriate attire, people say. What if you're like Anne and I, who actually are avid knitters but actually never make anything for ourselves? I could wear a hat and cowl, but that's about all I got.
Right. Well,
maybe not. She said any knitwear is appropriate, and then she said,
yeah.
I saw a pattern. Somebody was looking for testing for a knitted thong, and I'm going, and they're like, oh yeah, I used like cashmere and silk, and I'm like, ew. Like, is that gonna stand up to the washing that it's gonna need after being
not to be that guy, but sometimes you don't want it to be fuzzy.
Well, it wasn't mohair. I don't know.
Anyways,
sorry, Anne.
moving on.
Right. Anne's like, oh God, how did I end up here?
No, I don't worry. I would have made it.
Talking about the bookish wrap, and then we go to that. I mean, come on.
Right. But anyway, so yeah, and also from Krista. Here, one second. I gotta flip around all my bags and stuff because I had been looking at her wildflower. Now, see, all the proper names go in my head, but she has this wildflower bag kit for ages, and seeing it in person, and then there was only one left, and I got it. But yeah, and here's she's a wildflower set, is what she had.
Can I just say, jealous?
I know,
jealous.
And that was one of the things too that it's like, oh, you mean? I mean, I've seen this online. I don't know how long she put it out. Probably a few months back.
Yes.
But it was very nice to actually physically put hands on all of the yarn and see like all of Devon's different colorways were there. There was a couple other ladies selling bags and yarn that it was like, oh, it's nice to actually see it. And got one of Krista's stickers too.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I love online shopping. I love it that we can have like Krista as one of our friends and Chicken Lady and people who are far away that we would never have. But there's just something about going to like this yarn that I have. I wouldn't have bought it if I had seen it online, but touching it, I was like, oh, I have to have that right now.
Right.
So, there's just a difference in being able to be like, let me see that.
And Krista is really great to meet in person too. Like she is
I'm
so
sure.
she is so funny. And she comes up, so she was all very, and she is a very quiet and ladylike kind of person, but she plops down next to breakfast with her tumbler of tea, and we just it really was such a good time and such a hilarious time to see everybody. And I kind of feel bad that okay, so there's 88 people there, and again, all of them wearing fabulous sweaters, all of them very knitting knowledgeable. But there was a couple ladies, that I knew coming into the retreat, and ended up talking to them the whole time, which was awesome because I'd only met a couple. I think one of them, I had only met one of the ladies here before I had come. So it was so nice to like actually meet people in person. I'm like, I feel like I should talk to more people, but also it was such a good time.
Yeah.
And Devin made, so we were kind of we didn't know, we had assumed for the last it was Saturday, leave Sunday, and for the last night we had kind of assumed that the hotel staff would clean up the main sort of lobby room with tables and chairs before everyone would come back for their after breakfast thing, and they didn't. So there was like bottles and cans and debris strewn all around the table, and like more chairs pushed in. And they came in, and Devin's like, wow, this is good, somebody had a real party last night. We're like, oh, we're so sorry, we didn't clean up, we didn't like, and not to overburn the staff or anything, but I assume that they come in the morning and clean out the garbages, and like there were pizza boxes around, and it was such a good time though. Like yeah, sorry, other classes. I had my class.
How was it?
My class was good. The thing is that so I kind of last minuted my class. It's not as if I don't know how to teach Intarsia, but figuring out what chart to do and this and that, and I put out a star chart with the pattern. And at the end, like right before class time, I'm like, I don't like this chart. I don't think it's the best chart it can be. And it's like physically stop myself from, Anne, you're teaching the concept. This isn't anything. They can get any chart they like off the internet and they can make their own. So if this is a crappy chart, it's going to be okay. They're going to learn the concept of Intarsia. It's not as if they're making a full hat in the class, and it is all right. But
so funny.
Anyway,
I know you, and I am not even a little bit surprised that you're trying to do that.
Right.
Like,
right. And also, okay, so it was also funny getting up and talking that, okay, so most of the people were in the room, and one of the things, there was a microphone, I didn't use it, but it would have been kind of nice if we had got some sort of an overhead projector thing set up, or like some sort of audio visual. But I stood there to begin with. I had some bulky yarn. I'm like, I'll show it from here, but it doesn't really work from a top of a room with like 80 people.
Yeah.
So anyways, this is poor planning on my part, but what ended up happening anyways is that I kind of stood at the top and I announced that we're starting and we're going to do this. And I emailed everybody instructions for the class. And and then I forgot, I asked Devin for everyone's email for it. And then I forgot to put Devin's own email in there too. So she didn't get instructions for the class. I sent them to her later. Like, oh man, I'm so sorry. But so that was another thing. But so basically after that, I went from table to table and like, okay, here, everybody start. I'll help you as we go. And yeah, I think that was really good. It worked out. some people did give up. But I'm like, no, really, you can do it. And they're like, I don't know. But, but I'm like, okay, everybody's got instructions, so everybody's fine. And there was, and also, if you took my class, if you didn't, you can totally do the Reclaim Party beanie, the first episode of Blocked. That's modified Intarsia and Intarsia on the ground, both of which I taught in the class. And also, one lady asked, and that's another thing I didn't say, for the undesirable #1, I didn't bring it downstairs, pattern with Trump, which I've shown on this show before. It's like, if you want that chart, you can ask me. I'll send you that chart. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Don't worry.
cool.
Everyone who took the class has my email. Any questions or you want that chart, email me. I'll get to
Yeah.
it when I get home. It's on my home computer. But yeah, definitely. But yeah, that went very well. And I was talking to Cheryl afterwards too. Her brioche class was the first one. And it's like, yeah, now the class is over. Now I can actually relax. Like now it's just good. Devin did a class on designing your own sweater patterns from
Oh, wow.
from from clothing that you already have, like how to sort of take a piece, kind of take the concept of a piece, decide what you like and don't like, or move on from there.
Mhm.
Let's see, there was Chris's weaving class, of course. I think, and I mentioned Holly's. I think that was all the classes.
With Holly's? I don't remember.
Holly's was on modifying patterns.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. But yeah, that was all good. We drove to, here, I'll bring up this bag, to Black Mountain Yarn Shop, which was a suggested thing to do. And it was very funny. Because Black Mountain Yarn Shop, okay, it's a beautiful store. It is filled with very lovely and very expensive yarn, but it is all of the woke yarns and all of the woke designers are there. So it's like, so I'd always heard of Spin Cycle. I'd never seen Spin Cycle in person. I've never seen the price tags on Spin Cycle in person. But like this shop has its own Spin Cycle colorway that is made specifically for them, which
Oh
was
my gosh.
cool. Yeah.
Right.
Like, I'm like, okay, this is actually cool to see. And like Andrea Mowry's new sweater. And it was kind of funny. Again, you're in a bunch of conservative knitters, and we're all like, yeah, we know that she has issues with people for copyright, or, Caitlin Hunter or whatever else that we're walking around. But it was really cool to actually see the patterns and see the sweaters and see them in the different yarns and everything. So
Yep.
that was very neat. But I made a purchase there also.
Well, I think I've mentioned that I've started going to a local yarn store. And they're very, very woke there. But man, the best thing about that store is that they have so many samples knit off. It's just,
Right.
There's something about, like, yes, I love touching the yarn. Yes, I love looking at it. But there's something about seeing all of the different kinds of knitting too that is kind of inspiring. Like, even if I'm not going to go buy a bunch of these woke people's yarn and stuff, just being around other creatives and seeing their stuff, I don't know. I think there's something to it. So.
There really is. And it's like, oh, this is the proper yarn store of legends. They're really not there. And even, okay, so walking around this yarn store, I'm like, okay, so there's individual skeins that I like. These are nice. These are pretty. But I'm not really picturing any project. And it's not as if I don't buy individual skeins. I mean, this is a stock set, but individual skeins and not know what they are, what they're for. But it's like, oh, I'm not sure. But then I found,
Are you getting an orange sweater?
Yes. So I found these guys, and I don't know if you can see the colors exactly because they're a little dark here. These are very bright. The yarn is Jill Draper Makes Stuff is what it's called, and it's lamb wool. It's made from sheep to skein in the U.S., and it's 2-ply. Oh yes, you have it.
I got this at that local yarn store.
There you go. No, but
it's awesome.
I know, and the feel on it is so soft. And it's that little bit of, there's like
it's still got the lanolin in it. It's a little
but not like too much lanolin, so it doesn't feel greasy, but it's a little bit like there's lotion already in it, like that level of, oh, this is nice. And then, so here, let me put some of these down.
How funny is it though?
No, yes, I got these two, and I'm like, this is cool. This looks like I'm a cool ginger girl, selling handbags. Not my outfit, which are these colors, but the handbag. That's what you're buying. Like this is how
Right.
this feels to me. And then this thing there, and it's also great because again, it's all the people from the retreat. So I'm like, oh, and like, okay, literally everybody in this room knows what I'm talking about. I'm like, I like this. I need another color. And one lady's like, oh, how about navy? I'm like, okay, navy is good. But then, oh, and it's too dark to see. But it is this dark forest green.
There's a little bit of it you can see.
Right.
That's green.
But yeah, that these three together are amazing. So I have another skein of each of these, and I have to figure out because I want to do a big colorwork sweater. But I don't have a pattern for it yet. And I mean, like these are pretty big skeins. I'm like, I have enough yarn here. I just have to figure out exactly what I'm doing. So
Yep.
yeah, that was exciting. It was nice.
Green.
Walk around. And we went to this little German restaurant place for coffee, but they really weren't a coffee place. And it was really funny too because the lady is all at the front, like, oh, there's for when we get your cards together, we'll get your coffees all at once if you all are ordering coffee. And we're like, oh yeah, sure. And then we go and sit in the back, and it's clear that this is, a restaurant, not a coffee place. And you can see the big old jug of coffee that they have. I'm like, oh, because you wanted to make the coffee. It's not like a little hipster process. You're just doing the spigot. It was good coffee though. But anyways, so sorry, little adventures. Oh, here, I almost forgot this. This is Sugg Plantation and Alpaca Farm.
Okay.
One of the lovely. This was a gift, and it is a very fine gift. But it is from local alpaca here, and they had a shop here too. They also do socks and things.
Cool.
But it is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
But yeah, I know it was such a good time. I don't know what else to say. Food was great. Location was fantastic. Devin is a lovely host. I mean, except for the fact that the only pool they had was outdoor and it's winter time.
Well, these things happen.
I know. And anyways, we would have just been ridiculous too. But yeah, sincerely an awesome time had by all.
I'm glad for you guys. I mean, like, I'm super jealous. Don't forget that. But I'm so glad that it was such a good time. That sounds so fun.
And I know, like Chicken Lady said that she couldn't make it last minute. She's like, okay, now I'm jealous. Like, come on, Lynn, it would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And then Devin's talked before she said that every other year. And I know that a lot of planning went into this. So like, I totally get that. But then people are like, no, you should do it more often. And she's like, okay, maybe. But I know that for her, like this has been a year in planning. And if she did another one this upcoming year, she would have to start planning right now. And
right.
Get her wanting to be like, okay, wait, hang on. Give me a little bit to rest.
Yeah. I can't imagine what goes into it. I mean, it must just be crazy. And she seems to me like I wouldn't say perfectionist, but I would say she probably plans it down to like every detail just because that seems like how she is.
Mm-hmm.
Like just very together. I don't know. You know what I mean?
And the whole thing went smoothly too. Like I didn't see any sort of major hiccup. I mean, except for me, who should have got their crap together sooner for the class. But even that, no.
Well,
even with emailing everyone's pattern out and all of that actually went pretty smoothly too. So that's not any sort of complaint.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so cool. I'm jealous in a good way. I'm not like mad jealous. Just I'm so happy for you guys. It sounds like such a great time.
And did I say before that there was lots of like little, I mean, I know we always have, Chicken Lady's discount code here for us and everything. And that is excellent. But it's like, ooh, discount codes from other people. This is exciting.
That is fun. I like Jane's idea. How about a retreat every 18 months? Then it would alternate summer and winter. See,
Uh,
now she did one in North Carolina and it was in the summer. I would go because I have friends that we visit when we travel in February. And
mhm.
then if it was like in August, then we could go stay with our friends again, like visit them, do the retreat, do the, you know,
That is
I'm a
true.
fan of that.
So, I mean, I totally get her wanting to keep it to be like an off-season thing as
Yeah,
well.
I'm sure
That,
because that would change the pricing. But
right, right. And especially since, I mean, some people did go out and hike all around, and weather here is fantastic. We went to Waffle House this morning, which there's no Waffle Houses in South Dakota, and it was a great time. Food was great, but they were all and we're looking at our phones saying, yes, it's like 40 degrees out here in North Carolina. And we're like, this is nice. There's like green plants, which is wild. This is feeling like spring. This is fantastic. And, North Carolinians are like, oh, this is miserable and cold. And we're like, no, at home, it's minus 13 degrees with a wind chill that makes it worse.
right.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's cold here too. Emily said she was afraid to book it because of the weather. And
Uh,
that's part of why I didn't go because our family does take a vacation in February every year to Florida. And we drive there. So we drive through North Carolina. So
right.
it was a hard sell for my husband with the cost. And then how would I get there? Would I drive he was like, you're not driving by yourself. The weather could be terrible. But
Right.
he's like, we can't go twice in 3 weeks. That doesn't make sense either. So it's kind of a,
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Devin said that she's looking for next time to do a different location. So, and she's like, "Okay, maybe something more on the west side of the country." And it's like, well, I always say Black Hills because Black Hills is fantastic. They have the facilities for it, but that's the thing though. If it's Black Hills in January, you could totally get snowed out. Like they get feet of
right,
snow at a time. So,
right. So you'd have to do it. When did you say it starts to get warm there? In April?
kind of May.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it's warmer in April, but for
Is
October,
that negative? Is that negative 49?
I think so.
Renee, I'm sorry. That sounds horrible.
It says, is
I mean,
that?
I don't, yeah. See, 18 and snowing in Northwest. Was that Arkansas?
I think so. Yep. I think Katie said she's from Arkansas, but yeah,
I don't remember. I'm no good with my abbreviations. We haven't studied them yet.
that's okay.
My
No,
kids haven't
well,
studied them.
Katie was here. She was a lot of fun. So,
That's awesome. Yeah, she
and
mentioned it earlier. I didn't read that comment though, but yeah.
Selfish
The
Knitter
weather,
was here, and Pandemic Knitter, I think, is her
yeah,
username. Yeah.
yeah. It's bipolar here in New York too.
Hmm.
It can be really cold or it can be like fine. Arkansas, yeah, yeah. See, showing my crazy, not paying attention self. Um, so you and your parents came with you, right?
They did.
That's fun. Did your dad do any knitting retreat stuff, or was he like chilling, doing other?
No, he did it. Like he every once in a while he'd walk in. Well, because I mean the retreat, is paid for, and the hotel is paid for separately, and
Right.
like I guess he could have paid for breakfast through here, but the food is included with your retreat stuff.
Mhm.
But no, he was happy to go off and wander and visit Waffle House. So no, he was very
Funny.
happy with that. But no, he actually was the one. It was Saturday night where we all got together and had our retreat picture, which is going around Instagram and everything. So he's the
Yeah.
one who took the picture because he was the only guy hanging around who wouldn't be in it. Which is, and then the group I was with, we were late coming in, so it's like, okay, everybody here, and he's like, no, my daughter isn't. Like running in at the end. I mean, it took time for everyone to get situated, but we were supposed to be there at 7, and we busted in at like 7:07. So
Can I show you that this is my completely unsurprised face because I know you?
I wasn't even driving. That's
Whatever.
like I just make people late by my presence.
If there is a group that is not
Not with
on
the
time,
program.
I am not surprised you're in it. Katie says that your parents are a hoot. And then I want to know where Denise, where are you in South Florida? Are you South Florida, like down by the tip? You must be if it's 82. Um,
Love-
Renee got 11 inches of snow over the weekend. I'm sorry, Renee.
Oh.
I was wondering who took the photo. Yeah, I wondered that too. I kind of had a suspicion it might be your dad just because I knew he was there. But
Mhm.
yeah, if it happens again, we'll have to work harder on my husband. We'll have to,
Right.
wonder
No,
if we our vacation early. But we like to go in February because then in Florida, it's actually warm enough to go swimming in the ocean and stuff. Like
yeah.
the days are getting up into the 70s and stuff. And in this time of year, it's usually like 60s where he is,
Mhm.
west of Fort Lauderdale. I'll have to look at a map. I'm not that great with
Yeah, and
with places.
that's
When
kind of
I'm at
thing
Ann, I'm
that,
like, I have to look at a map. I don't know where South Dakota is. I know it's in the middle. Don't know where exactly it's in the middle.
well, that's the thing too. That's like, okay, I'm in North Carolina. I'm like, I do not know my southern geography very well. I mean, generally I know where I am, but also kind of not really.
Yeah.
People
But
are listing off names and places. I'm like, yeah, we are. Yeah.
see, now I am really good with the East Coast because we do drive from New York to Florida once a year generally, an hour north of Miami. Okay. Okay, cool. We go on the Gulf side, and I
Okay.
love the Gulf side, and it's beautiful. I've
Yeah.
never been to Miami. It sounds scary to me.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in clubs, and
Is the Gulf side normally warmer than?
I think so
Yep.
because it's got the Gulf of Mexico there, not the Atlantic, and I think that makes a difference.
Okay.
Could be wrong, but that's my theory.
But yeah.
I love just randomly saying stuff, and then people on the internet are like, "No."
No, that's not how it works. um, but yeah, and like, okay, so Krista was talking about different retreats and stuff, and again, it's like, ooh, oceanfront retreat. It's like, oh yeah, but we're all getting wool, and then we don't want sand in it. But at the same time, oceanfront,
Mhm.
running a big beach house. But yeah, like
Too
Chris.
low.
Yeah,
Hmm?
Krista mentioned that she would want to do a retreat in Wyoming. I mean, probably, she said probably not for a couple of years, just because she's establishing her new business and everything else going on. Um,
Yes.
but, somebody sort of poked that we should do one is like, we have thought about it. I'm not sure.
We have thought about it, but there's a lot of logistics, especially because I'm in New York and Ann's in South Dakota, and we're about 2 days apart by car. And so, like, where would we go and what would we do?
Right.
And we're like, well, could we meet somewhere in the middle? And then we're like, well, is there anything good in the middle?
Yeah.
Not particularly.
I,
Sorry
I,
to anybody who lives in between the two of us. I'm sure there are nice places. I'm just saying, in general.
it is kind of a thing.
Yeah, no, I think that once we get our business really up and running, and then we have the funds to fly us to different retreats, that's how we will start attending them regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a business expense. So, guys, work on that for us, okay?
We'll work on it since it is our thing, but
All right, fine. But hey, I'm just taking a page out of the woke people's book. I would like to do some more retreats, so please help me do it. Okay?
so other people should make it happen, something that is profitable for us. Yeah.
Isn't that how it works? I thought it was.
Like, what? Hang on, that's not our business model. Our business model involves us doing our own things. What?
Fine.
Fine. Okay, so while she's coughing up a lung, sorry,
Sorry.
I'm just bouncing from thing to thing because I forgot to show what I was working on this weekend. So because I couldn't bring my Quinn's quilt with me, and
Emily has the answer for us, Anne.
what's the answer? A GoFundMe.
It won't go away, girl. Sorry.
No, but I gotta say before I move on to my thing. So part of this part of the retreat is that there was a free to a good home table, so yarn swap or whatever. And like the last night, I saw that we were told to bring yarn scraps for our for the art weaving, and somebody had like these it was clear that this was their scraps, and they're like, okay, so I don't need these anymore after this. And they're all purples and blues. And I'm like, this will go perfectly into my quilt. So whoever was like, yeah, whatever, I don't need this. I'm like, awesome.
Yes, you've just made Anne's life for, yes,
right,
for the quilt that she's in love with.
Yeah. Also on the free table, sorry. And I kind of felt bad for the people who were selling all these lovely bags. I mean, I got one, but still, that there was some bags on the free table, and it's this little plaid pouch, and it's by there's a tag here, Jan B. Smiley on Etsy, but it's a little plaid pouch, but there's a wristlet on this side, and it zips up, so you can hold your knitting from your wrist while you go. Like, this is perfect.
And since you can wear it while you're using it, you can incorporate it into the outfit of all the plaids you have been wearing.
I have been wearing all the plaids.
I know.
Like,
it's perfect for you.
And more. It's my favorite color. But anyway, sorry. So also, so my kind of thing that I've been working on is the Benedicta sweater, which is the one that I said that I originally started with less yarn than I needed because I'm a fool. But it has been going beautifully.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Yeah, and so I modified it a little bit. I'm sure I said this, but okay, so she has her, this is the stained glass window, and then she has crosses. So the one that was supposed to go here was, she called the Miraculous M, specifically for Mary. And it's like, I think Mary's pretty cool, but I'm not a Catholic. She's not like the main girl. She's, it's like, it's like, she's neat, but she's like, part of the story, but she's not like particular and special. I mean, like, she's special in that, she gave birth to Jesus, but otherwise she's incidental in the story. She has a great speech, but she's sorry guys, I'm not we Baptists don't make a big deal about Mary. She's cool and everything, but she's she's human like the rest of us. But anyways, so yeah, I was like, I'm not so sure about that. But Devin had mentioned in her podcast that she said that these little guys down here look like little fleur-de-lis, and that fleur-de-lis is also a Trinity kind of symbol, part of the symbol. So I found this little fleur-de-lis on, it was on Pinterest, but it was charts from like, really old pattern books. So yeah, and I thought it kind of also reminded me of Henry V. In my favorite Tom Hiddleston version, he has a crown that has little square crosses and fleur-de-lis on it because no king of England, if not king of France. So I'm like, that's some good. I mean, have little loopy thin lines, but the repeat is too small. And yeah, and then I added in these little lines too because the M had a line that went all the way through it, and I thought that would balance that part out better.
Yeah, I like it. I like your changes.
I know. It's like, I'm sorry, Devin, I physically can't not. Like,
yeah, Anne is like incapable of knitting something just the way it's supposed to be knit.
No,
like, which is what makes you.
Right. A little Holly's class, she's like, oh, some people, they like to stick with the pattern and with colors from the pattern and everything all the time. And I'm like, yeah. And there I was in Krista's class messing around with my warp. So it was different. Yeah, I'm a mess. I can't. I'm just.
So right here from her Knit Unity, the White Mountains in New Hampshire, that's where her sheep and her and her sheep are from.
That'd be cool.
New Hampshire's out of the way for both of us, so I guess whatever. I don't know. I haven't been in New Hampshire in years.
So,
yes.
Missed my thought because I can't remember the name of the song.
Sorry.
As time goes by. Anyways, so so I was getting really nervous. This is the only like news portion of the entire day. That's your next class, knitting improv.
For real. She's good at it.
Prepared to tear it out because that's knitting improv. Even when I was doing the art yarn weaving, I'm like, no, pull. But anyway, so we're sitting in the airport to come here, And so Mark Stein has his Mark Stein Song of the Week. So he has his regular GB News show, which he's been off of for 2 months after he had 2 heart attacks. But they're still running his Song of the Week. So we listened. So it was the time for that when we were at the airport, and we're listening to it, and it was a repeat. They're all free on his website if you're interested about them. They're like he'll do little 45-minute segments on the history of songs, and he'll put in different songs in there and tell you the stories of things. And it's just wonderful and fascinating. But he did As Time Goes By, and it was anyways great to listen to. We're listening to that in the airport, and all those things where I'm not an overly superstitious person, but Mark Stein, you haven't heard from him in a long time, and I walk into the hotel lobby here, and there's like a light jazz version of As Time Goes By, and they must have not hit their record player or whatever they had, because it played twice, and I'm like, is this a sign? Is he dead? Because I know he's not doing well. But again, not to be too superstitious here, but he but he put out a little video today saying that he is in fact not dead, and he's going back to doing his GB News show, which I'm so glad, because miss the guy, just love everything he puts out, but just like, been gone for 2 months. And then there was this little thing on Twitter, because he's done a lot with the vaccine injured and bereaved. Like, there's different English groups specifically that he has talked a lot. He's brought them on his show to talk about their situations and everything else, that he's been a very strong advocate for them. And in England, there have been actual payouts about that, which we've spoken of before. But there were people who were like kind of getting upset because it looked like his show had been properly wiped from the GB News roster. And that was like last week. And again, I'm sitting there like, oh no, that must mean he's truly not doing well. He had kind of made a joke before that he's like, yeah, I'm not sure about my lung capacity. My singing career is pretty much over. And it's like, well, Stein, your singing career was never great to begin with. He's put out a couple CDs. I mean, I like them, but I like him.
For real singing?
For real singing. Like, yeah, he has a full band and everything.
Oh.
He's a little Rex Harrison when he sings, but from My Fair Lady, where he more talks. Not all the time. There is some proper singing, but and the band's good.
Okay. So
anyways, but there was some people on Twitter that were getting upset because he had those Ofcom complaints against him for talking about vaccines and other things too. So they had kind of thought that Ofcom had won and GB News had wiped him from the roster because of that. And it was like, no, guys, he's had 2 heart attacks. The man's ill.
Right.
Like, nobody panic. It's not that he's being canceled. It's just that he's had some serious health issues. But like William Shatner. Yeah.
I've heard William Shatner. I've not heard Stein though.
But yeah. No, his song from Marshmallow World, like, he also had a Christmas album, and Marshmallow World actually hit like ratings. Like, it wasn't like top, but it did pretty well for a Christmas single.
Never heard of it. Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's everything. If I'm forgetting something, I'll say later. And again, I want to say just thank you so much to everyone who came up and talked. And my parents were hearing it too, that that people who see our podcast and everything, and it was so cool. Like, it was so kind of everybody. Like, okay, everybody in general was nice, but it was very kind of people to say, oh, we watch you, and we we like your show and everything. So yeah, thank you, everybody.
That's fun. Like I said, a little bit jelly, but that's okay. But don't forget, 2 more days to enter to win this lovely, beautiful skein of yarn. And it's going to come with a brioche pattern. Oh. Not yet written, but will be soon. And if you can't wait to get beautiful, beautiful yarns from Chicken Lady, like this, or the Mount June, Alaska yarn, I knew you had it.
Yes, I dug for it, which is very pretty.
Like, it is very pretty.
Spot on.
Oh, and I have a whole thing of yarns from her that I just got. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be keeping it under wraps yet.
Okay.
I'll have to find out. But if you want beautiful yarn, if you don't think you're gonna win, you want more than one skein, whatever, use the code SNOW20 PIK for January, or the code HEARTS20 PIK for February to get beautiful yarn from Fabulous Chicken Lady. Yeah, guys, awesome. I'm jealous of all of you that went, and Anne, thanks for showing us all your stuff and talking about it, because yeah, it's awesome. So
I know, and also just a brief thing that again, standing around and talking about, oh, we need a next one. It's going to be difficult because okay, so we had 88 people, and it was a pretty, like Devin had a cap on how many people come to the retreats, or how many people to manage, and talking about it's going to be difficult in future, like kind of keeping, not that you don't want a larger retreat, but it's like everyone who came here, like, yeah, definitely I want to come again. And like, okay, it's not as if we don't want any other people out, but how do we manage a larger party than this? Like, this is going to be interesting going forward, but I'm really excited.
Your friends are very fun, Anne, and I'm proof you don't have to be a good knitter to attend. So there you go.
There we
I'm
go.
assuming it's your mother, huh?
It is, yes.
Well, thanks for watching. And we'll see you guys soon. And yeah, we're gonna have a regular Saturday episode this week, right? We're gonna work it out. So
we're going to be
cool. And yeah, awesome. Thanks. Don't forget to enter for the giveaway or use your code to get some Chicken Lady yarn. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right,
Bye.
Bye.